This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by a slightly blinded Dave Coldwell here in Leeds. Dave, how's life treating you?
Yeah, not bad. It weren't bad until that light came on.
Sorry, mate. Unfortunately, it seems to be a running theme. It's a bright light indeed. But here we are. Hopey Price returns. Talk to me about what you're expecting from him on Saturday night and his opponent.
Progression. I want to see little things that we've been working on in the gym. He just keeps adding to his game, and I want him to see him put him into effect on fight night. He's an outstanding prospect. He's a really, really good fighter, and he's going to be unbelievable. But these are the steps where he has to develop, and it's about developing fighters. It's not just about rushing them into big fights and big titles just because they're a good fighter and they sling them in early, and then they come up against somebody that's got too much experience and they've not faced certain things. I want him to get rounds under his belt. I want him to just learn about himself in the ring as a professional. 8 fights in. Saturday night will be his fight number 9, obviously. I'm just looking forward to his development.
He's a talented individual indeed, Dave, and when you look towards next year, how quickly do you want to move him?
Activity, that's the main thing. I just want to get activity, get a few quick fights under his belt, and then once he's 12-0, then the old plates will come off and we'll go. But I want, this will be his last eight rounder. Then we go to 10s, international fights, just normal 10-round fighters, old school fighters did fight 10-round non-title fights. It doesn't have to be for a title, but I want to get the rounds under his belt and keep progressing with opponents. And then like I said, then we go for the titles, the major titles.
Dave, just away from Hopey, how's Lerrone?
It's all right. He's going to be back up next week. He's back up this weekend, and then he'll be start back light training next week. Had a good couple of weeks rest now, which is what his doctor advised him to do. MRIs came back clear, so everything's fine on that side of things. I did say to him I wanted him to have an MRI scan and to be all clear before he came back into my gym. So because he's had a couple of weeks off and what have you, we'll get back into it light. And February's a perfect date. Do that fight again, or not again, but get it rescheduled. But February's a perfect date.
There was, of course, a lot of disappointment when that fight fell through. I imagine none more so than yourself, and obviously from Lerrone. But what did you make of Zak Chelli's comments at him after the immediate aftermath of finding out that Lerrone had pulled out?
It's to be expected. Listen, they're very, very confident. They want the fight. They talk really well before the fight, so they're going to chat after the fight. I expected that, and I said that to him when I spoke to Zak and his dad. Before we went to the Sky Show, I spoke to him and I said, look, I apologise, but I can't put my fighter in when he's ill. I can't do that. I had Jordan Gill not tell me he was ill, and so he went into the fight, and then look at what happened with his career. Do you know what I mean? I can't do that. And Zak Chelli wants Lerrone badly. I'm sure he wants him when he's healthy and fit, So I expect him to be a disappointment. I expect him to be pissed off. They've trained hard. They've worked hard. This was he was excited about doing a public workout. I heard him saying, "Oh, it's a public workout. We won't want to be here." Well, we've been there. It's a public workout. We weren't there for a public workout because he had his last spar. It wasn't fight week. It was a week before that, if you remember, because of all the shows. They did a public workout in the last hard week of training. So, no offence, we're not in London. We're in Sheffield, in Rotherham. I'm not going to miss his final sparring session that's all scheduled in and everything to come all the way down. Miss his S&C session with Boxing Science. Mess all that sort of stuff out to come down to do a public workout, 10 minutes on the pads. So, although that was a big thing for them, it wasn't for us. Our priority was the fight. He gets ill, I'm not going to put him in when he's ill. He will be fully fit and he will be fully healthy on the revised date. We said straight away we'll fight him. We're not looking to take another fight, you've pulled out of that one so you can take that fight. No, we'll fight him in February. He's had 2 weeks out. He's coming back in now. January's a ridiculous date to ask us to fight in, but February, perfect.
Dave, when he came out that Lerrone had to vacate his IBO title, there was a lot of surprise around that. Can you? Oh, it was a surprise for you guys. So can you kind of establish as to that entire situation?
I'm not his manager, so I don't get. I find out it's like I find out stuff. I found out stuff on Twitter or on.
So you had no conversations at all with Lerrone about that potential possibility?
It wasn't. And it's not. It's none of my business. But I trained Lerrone to fight. But he was inactive for. It turned out he's inactive for a year, so you get dropped out of rankings and all that sort of stuff. He wanted to fight the mandatory that they put on him, but we couldn't get. There was nobody there to put that fight on. It wasn't an exciting fight, was it? The mandatory guy, it was some guy that nobody's heard of. So when the opportunity comes to fight his first fight back for so long, I said this before the last fight. He could have either gone in against somebody that nobody's heard of and nobody gives a shit about, and all fans are going to say, "Who's this?" Or it's somebody that everybody knows. Zak Chelli, everybody knows, the exciting young fighter, banging people out, 100% confident he's going to come and knock Lerrone out. So there's that intrigue, there's that spite, there's that, oh, right, I want to watch that fight. It's on Sky Sports. Great opportunity for platform. So why wouldn't you take that fight? That was our, that's his comeback fight, so to speak, before he goes onto the bigger fights. People saying, oh, he turned down Akhmedov so he can fight Zak Chelli. No, not really. It doesn't work that way. Just our circumstances end up like that. When he turned that down, it was like the fight was offered months and months and months before September. And it's like, well, we want to fight before then. Not wait until September to fight. He just wanted to be active. He just wanted to fight. And so it just transpired that nothing ended up coming up. So it was a case of where, well, it might as well have fought Akhmedov. But the point about not taking Akhmedov was it was so long away, and it was against a guy that got beat by the guy that Lerrone already beat on a foreign show. Just because you're boxing on a Canelo undercard, don't mean. Can you tell me who's on Canelo's undercard against Danny Jacobs, who made a big statement? Can you tell who on Canelo's undercard against whoever else he's fought, Triple G? Who gives first time round, second? Nobody cares about who's on your undercard. It's about your career. And at the time, it was a case of, well, I beat Akhmedov, wait until September, I beat Akhmedov, and nobody gives me credit for beating him because I beat Gongora already, who beat Akhmedov in his last fight. So that's why that fight didn't happen, and because we thought that we would get something else, but nothing else transpired until Zak Chelli. So it wasn't, oh, you turn that Akhmedov so you can fight Zak Chelli. It's just that was the fight that was there, and we took it.
Dave, just away from Lerrone, obviously last weekend we saw Tyson Fury stop Fury-Chisora. Derek, somebody you'll know well, just wanted you to take me back to what did you make of that fight? A tough watch at times.
I haven't seen it yet. No, I listened to it live on TalkSport because I couldn't see a way where it'd be when you're a Derek fan, a Chisora fan, or you know Derek, and I like Derek, and when I couldn't see a good outcome for that fight. I couldn't see how it panned out well for Derek. I thought either Tyson goes in there like he did against Wilder 2, puts it on him and gets rid of Derek quick, or Derek just shows incredible toughness and keeps taking them bombs and it gets prolonged and it's a long beat and it gets stopped, or Tyson just decides to try and win over 12 rounds and just carry him through because he's his mate, but he ends up taking more punishment anyway. I didn't want to see either of those outcomes. I couldn't see how Derek could, if he couldn't get past Parker's range enough not to get hit with those right hands and uppercuts, how is the Fury fight not going to be worse? So I chose not to watch it for that reason. I listened to it on TalkSport. I'm listening to football on TalkSport all the time, so I thought, and the advertisement, so I thought, I'll listen to it. And it was a painful watch to listen to. Well, painful watch. It was hard to listen to anyway. I will watch it, but I've had Hopey on, and I've got other things where mine's on, and I've not got time. I've been watching World Cup. I've watched all matches, to be honest, and I'm still not caught up on Chocolatito fight yet. I've seen the undercard. I've managed to get the undercard, but I've not watched Chocolatito fight. I've not watched Fury's fight, and I've not watched the Dubois fight yet. I want to watch them in entireties when I've got time, so I will watch them.
I know when you've watched them, you'll be able to form more of an opinion, but you're very close with your fighters, Dave. You're sympathetic towards them, and you have a close bond with them. One of the criticisms of the fight has been whether Don Charles should have pulled Derek out sooner, as opposed to allowing the ref to stop the fight. Difficult to say because you listen to it on the radio, but from what you heard, do you think that it should have been pulled earlier?
It's hard for me to say because I didn't see it, but all I can say is it sounded on the radio like he was never in it. I think that for me, we as coaches see things differently to what people at ringside, people have got no touch, people that don't see what the fight has put through, what's riding on the fight. So sometimes you might think, oh, stop the fight. But we look at the fight and think, is he still in it? If he's still in it and you believe that your fighter can still turn it around, then that's why sometimes the coaches might let it go a little bit longer than people would normally think. If he's not in it, and if you can't see a way that your fighter's going to turn it around, get him out of there. There's no point. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen from the reaction of people has been, is that Derek was never in the fight. And it's difficult. I can't, like I said, I can't say, but it's like I stopped the fight with Jordan because I couldn't see how he wasn't gonna turn it around. So what's the point in having heart, bollocks, whatever you want to call it, to carry on? I've done that with a couple of fights. I've done that where I've done that. When I had Derek against Parker, some people thought I should have stopped the fight a little bit earlier, but Parker always had this, and if you watch the fight back and if he was there at ringside, Parker always had that aura about him where it could actually unravel. He never looked comfortable when Derek got on him and Derek had catch him, and Derek could still keep going and catch him with shots. So he always looked like, can he turn this around? It looked like there was a possibility of turning it around. So that's why I kept Derek in. Other people might have said, pull him out, but I thought he could have turned that around. If there was no sign of him turning it around whatsoever, and the other man always looked comfortable and in control, even when you're landing shots, then that's the time that you've got to say, pull him out.
Final one, Dave, just before I let you go, the main event for this weekend, Warrington-Lopez. Very good fight. Lopez may not be known over here, but everybody in boxing knows of a proposition he will give to Josh, and he'll have to overcome. Your take on it?
Good fight, very good fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. As you said, Lopez, he's a bit of a firecracker. He can box a little bit, he can punch a little bit. He's exciting, and he'll go to take his opportunity. And the thing is, because he'll have seen Lara unheralded come in, do what he did, he'll see that this is his opportunity and he'll go for it. I just think that the levels that he's boxed at, it's one thing doing it at that level, but it's then another thing doing it at Josh Warrington's level with the experience of the Lara fight for Warrington. He'll have learned not to take his eye off of what's right in front of him. So I don't expect him to make that mistake twice. And also the size difference. I think there's a big size difference there as well, or the looks it. So yeah, I think Warrington wins the fight, and I think he wins it quite comfortably. I think it'll be a good fight because Warrington can make a fight that you would think it could make quite comfortable. It makes it exciting because he goes straight at him.
Right, Dave, we will leave that there now because I know that Hopey seems to have disappeared as well, so I'll leave you to catch up with him. Thanks for speaking to me in ID Boxing.
Nice one, mate. Thanks, cheers.